morning, or depending when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, out of Ultra Radio. So today, we are finally going to look at a good dragon deck. Because you see, ladies and gentlemen, we just do not see very much dragon success. The closest thing we've had lately is Ultra Necrozma, seeing a bit of love and a bit of support and a bit of success in Malamar decks. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we finally have an actual, factual dragon deck that's gone and done a win in Japan. And it's all based around that new Haxorus which is coming out, and it's actually going to be in Unified Minds. And what's kind of cool, this is a full-on Haxorus deck. This plays not very much else other than your boy Haxorus. Now, Haxorus didn't actually come out in the most recent Japanese set. It actually came out a couple of sets ago. It's just taken this long for somebody to go and win with it. And our translation here from the lovely David Hochmann, apparently it's got an ability Grinder Up, which is kind of weirdly named. Once during your turn, you may discard a stadium in play, and then attach free fire or metal energy from your hand to this Pokemon. So you're accelerating energy quite nicely here. Okay, cool, I suppose. But then it's got an attack for 1 fire, 1 metal energy that does 10 damage plus 40 more for each energy attached to this Pokemon. Now, ideally here, you attach free with the ability, 1 from your hand, and the minimum you should have here is 4 energy on, which means you do 170. Now, I know 170 isn't going to KO everything out there. But remember when I said the minimum it should have? Because you should be doing more than that, ladies and gentlemen. Because Haxorus is a stage 2 Pokemon. It's got 150 HP. Haxorus should be able to survive for a turn. And that means that we can do an awful lot more here. And that's basically it. Now, interestingly enough, there is an Axew here, which is kind of cool. It's actually got an ability. When your opponent plays an item or supporter card from their hand, prevent all effects of that card done to this Pokemon. It's not a reason to play the deck, but it stops your opponent using something like a Guzma to take away your Axew. And that actually could make a bit of a difference. I'm not saying it's the best thing ever. Absolutely am saying that it's a really handy bonus, and it could be the difference between your opponent taking out the pre-evolutions before you're ready, and your opponent not. Now, in terms of other Pokemon here, we have a Dragonite from Team Up. Once during your turn, you may search your deck for a supporter card and put it in your hand. We're playing Rare Candy for Stage 2s. We're playing Lance Prism Star, more on that in a moment. So you know what? Why not play one of these? Gives you a huge consistency boost. And incidentally, all the other Pokemon we're playing here are played for the consistency boost. So we've got a couple copies of Jirachi. While it's in the active, you get to look at the top 5 cards of your deck, put a trainer card in your hand, and then Jirachi goes to sleep. Now, obviously, we're playing a skateboard here to give yourself free retreat even if you are asleep. But the point of this, very simply, is that you can use it to search out your rare candy, or whatever else you might need. But your rare candy. Oh, we're playing a few supports we really need. We'll get to them in a minute. The point of this is what helps you set up, get rolling, and keep rolling. And then 1 copy of Tapu Lele to search out supporter cards, especially good for Lance Prism Star. Although, as I've said, there are a bunch of supporters that are really important here. And to be honest, we should look at those supporters. Because we got some supporters here that are super important, and Lance is one of them. Lance says that as long as you had a Pokemon KO during your opponent's previous turn, you can search your deck for any 2 Dragon Pokemon and put them onto your bench. Not basic Dragon Pokemon, any Dragon Pokemon. Which means you can put your Haxorus straight onto the bench. And you can put your Dragonite straight onto the bench. Yeah, that's pretty important. Now, I was a bit clumsy when I described Haxorus' ability earlier, because in order to use it, you have to discard a stadium from play. But you don't have to be active. Which means if you can get multiple Haxorus out, and Lance will help with that, then you could potentially discard a stadium that's already in play, and then use this ability, and then play a new stadium, and then discard it to add another free energy to a different Haxorus, or even the same one. So you can use this ability a couple times a turn, as long as you discard the stadium that's already there and then put a new one in. It's really kind of cool. Ideally, you want to discard your opponent's stadium. We'll get to which ones we're playing in a minute. In terms of supporters, we're playing 4 Welder. Welder lets you attach 2 fire energy from your hand to one of your Pokemon, while also drawing free cards. It's pretty gosh darned important here that we get as much energy on as we can, so Haxorus hits for as much damage as it can. So Welder here, but pretty gosh darned important. And we also play a couple of Kiawe. Now, we're only playing 1 Kiawe, 1 copy, because the thing is, we can't really afford to play more than 1, and that's sad and all that, but the fact of the matter is, we can only play 1, because it ends your turn. And that's fine, turn 1, but after that, we really need to be attacking as often as we can. But you get to attach 4 fire energy to one of your Pokemon. To put it another way, that's an extra 160 damage. And 160 damage is a lot. Plus, then you get your attachment next turn, the ability, etc. It ends your turn, so you don't really want to do it after turn 1. But playing Tapu Lele is going to make it much easier to find it on turn 1. And frankly, ladies and gentlemen, these supporters are pretty good. Now, we play free Lilly as a bit of a draw engine here. We don't want to play stuff like Cynthia because, honestly, we don't want to shuffle energy back into our deck. And you got to attach all the energy in one go with Haxorus' ability. So, being able to thin out your hand while keeping the energy and then playing Lilly to draw more cards, keeping the energy in hand, probably the best way to go here. We play a couple Erica's Hospitality. Again, it's pure draw. But whereas Lilly draws until you got 6 in hand, this, as long as you've got 4 or fewer, other than Erica, draws 1 for each of your opponent's Pokemon. Could draw you more than Lilly. Yeah, a lot of the time will, although not in the early game. It's good. We need draw here, not shuffle draw. And a couple copies of Guzma. It's a switch. It drags Pokemon off your opponent's bench to KO, etc. Now, we do need to play stadiums here, as I mentioned, and we got a couple of options. Mount Coronet is wonderful here. Mount Coronet puts 2 metal energy from your discard pile into your hand. And remember that the ability allows you to attach them. And then when they're attached, you do an extra 80 damage. You can attach 3 in any combination of metal and fire energy, but you got to do it all in one go. This gets 2 metal energy into your hand. That's pretty good, ladies and gentlemen. That's pretty good. We also play Viridian Forest, discard a card from your hand, then search for a basic energy. It's not perfect, but it gets you an energy. And then we're playing Giant Furnace, which is basically the same, except you search for 2 fire energy, whereas Viridian Forest is any energy. Obviously here the ideal situation is that you just discard your opponent's stadium, but you can discard any of these if you need to. We then play 4 copies of Nest Ball, because getting your basics out is the most important thing. And 3 copies of Mysterious Treasure, because, well, you're playing almost entirely Dragon Pokemon here. So, this lets you search it out discarding 1 card rather than 2, which Ultra Ball would. That's pretty gosh darn good. Nest Ball and this, pretty good combo. We're also playing a couple Pokemon Communication because you get to swatch a Pokemon you don't want for a Pokemon you do. That's nice, especially when you're playing a bunch of Stage 2s and you might want to swap them in for basics. And then we've got 4 Rare Candy because you need Rare Candy to evolve up. We're not playing any of the Stage 1s here. We've got 2 copies of a Skateboard, like we mentioned, crucial for Jirachi. And 1 copy of Fiery Flint, discard 2 cards from your hand, search for 4 fire energy. Well, that's 3 to attach with the ability and 1 to attach for your turn. You need energy in your hand here, and you'll notice that this deck really is built around getting energy in your hand and setting up. Because once you got your Pokemon out and you got energy in your hand, this is good. You're talking about a single prize Pokemon that could do a minimum really 170, should be minimum, but can keep going up and KOing Tag Team GXs, taking 3 prizes while only giving up 1. That's nice. There'll be turns you can't get enough energy in your hand and that's going to be sad, etc. But there's going to be an awful lot of turns here where you can make an awful lot of hay just running with Haxorus. I love this. And look, we don't have many dragon decks, so we need to appreciate the ones that we do. But I'd like to know how much you appreciate this one. So please do let me know in the comment section. Go nuts, be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at The Wassy, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCGRadio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all that, head on over to patreon.com/PTCGRadio, where you can do exactly that. And please do make sure you're checking out youtube.com/WassyPlays, where we talk about games that don't even have Pokemon in. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time. Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.